Sheldon, when you compare both games here this weekend, do you feel in today's game the team is able to develop more of a tempo throughout the entirety of the game?
I didn't find that, no, not until the third period. The third period, once penalties were less of an issue and 5-on-5 flow was happening a lot more, I thought we were able to really step our game up. Up until that point in the third period today, I didn't think we had it going on much at all. But credit to us, despite all that, still leading for most of the game is a real positive for us. But I like the fact that we were able to get it together and finish off that third period nice and tidy.
25 penalty calls through these first two games. How much of an adjustment has that been for you guys?
Well, yeah, it's not what we anticipated. Obviously, when you come and play playoff hockey, you're expecting to be a lot of 5-on-5, and less about special teams. You know special teams are going to be important, obviously, but you're not expecting them to take over the game the way they have. But there's just been a lot of funny things happening in these two games here. A lot of high sticks, too many men on the ice, pucks leaving the rink. So all those types of things are just leading to extra calls. I thought the officials did a nice job in the game today, frankly. I thought they called the stuff that they had to. We were saying we can't be careless with our sticks or anything like that because that's the stuff they're calling. Otherwise, we felt, knowing those two officials, they were going to let the teams play. But you got to find a way. Whatever comes your way, you've got to find a way through it. And obviously, our power play wasn't any good today, but penalty kill was real good for us when it needed to be. Obviously, we put ourselves in a hole with the 5-on-3. You never can have that in a playoff game like this, much like yesterday. But all in all, it was fine.
What did you think of the way Pierre Engvall and Colin Greening and Freddie Gauthier played out there today?
Those guys have been excellent, both games. Today in particular, obviously, they made a real difference on the scoreboard for us and scored huge goals. But both games, that line has been excellent. Gauthier has really found another level in his game here this weekend, and he was terrific for us last year in the playoffs as well. And he's showing once again that this is his favorite time of year, and we're really happy to see that he's taken that step, and it's a big piece for us.
Coach, going 1 for 7 on the power play tonight, what needs to be improved on going forward to ensure that you're able to capitalize more efficiently on the 9 advantage?
Well, it's a really good question. Good for us that we have a couple days here to get it figured out. A little bit of a different look that they threw at us this weekend here than what we saw in the regular season, and our power play in the last couple months of the regular season we thought was operating at a real efficient level. But now in the playoffs, things change a little bit. Teams adjust. That's an elite penalty killing team. They're right behind us at the top of the league. So we've got to find our way through that for sure. So I think a big thing for us, first of all, is move the puck quicker, generate more shots, look for more movement and things like that. But we've got some time to really dive into it, and we're clearly going to need to.
How do you think Pierre has done with Colin and Freddie? You were saying how you thought about a week ago, you said that Pierre had to do more work outside of the puck and stuff like that. How do you think that he's adjusted in his new role?
I think he's adjusted really well. It's been nice to see. I think he's on a line that forces him to do that. Colin Greening is constantly talking to him and giving him advice and direction and things that he needs to do. And then both those players just drive the puck down the rink, Gauthier and Greening. They drive it down the rink and they put you in the offensive zone. And they force you to play down low in the offensive zone. They force you to forecheck, those types of things. So it's changed the game a little bit for Pierre from what he's been used to, but it's challenged him to do little things off the puck that are important, and we've seen that from him. The thing that I talked to him about coming into this series is that we were going to give him less opportunity on the power play, which was going to lower his minutes. And the challenge for him was to find a way to impact the game with less ice time. And I've been happy with what we've seen from him in the 2 days.
How do you think that Pierre has helped Colin and Frederick on that note? Do you think he's added a different element in that sense?
Well, he's got some. First of all, he's got the size and the frame, like those two guys, to be hard and heavy on the puck. But he has a skill set where you look and see today where Gauthier slips him a puck, he's got a chance to score and he buries it, and he has that ability to do so. We like his speed, his size, his skill set, all those types of things, and playing with those two guys we think is really giving him a solid introduction to what he needs to do to succeed in our structure and in the North American game.
And it was the goal, 20 seconds left in the game, and then you got yesterday, and then you guys came back to win it. Today it was the 5-on-3, and then immediately, Marty steps out of the box and they go back down and win it. What can you say about the way that your team has handled adversity and I guess sort of battled back almost right away from, I guess, like quote unquote struggles or events?
Yeah, well, that's well, we talked about that a little bit after the game. Just how important it is to focus on the next play. Sometimes things don't go your way, and if you don't have the ability to just take it out of your mind and go out and worry about the next play and the next shift, then things snowball and they get out of control, and that costs you games and costs you series this time of year. So I really am proud of our guys from how we've dealt with that, in particular today, coming right back and then having just a pretty efficient third period. I thought was our best of the three by far. And I thought we were really tired today. Our execution was very poor. I don't think that helped our power play cause, but I just thought that our guys did a nice job of responding, as you say, but then just sticking with it all the way through.
3 points in 2 games for Dimitro. Just your impression of how he's looked early on in the playoffs here.
I thought he was outstanding yesterday. I thought he was outstanding. I thought he drove the play. It was he that drew the penalty in overtime to help us score that goal, win the game yesterday. I thought today, just with a little more fatigue and stuff like that, just the execution wasn't quite the same for him, but he's working. He's been good off the puck. I've been really happy with what we've seen from him, and we need him to do that. We need a little extra skill, a little extra time with the puck, and he really brings that for us. So when he's playing at his best, he's a difference maker, and we've liked what we've seen so far.
Grundstrom had a very strong playoff push last season and out this year. What can you say in the, I guess, elevation of his game, the progress he's made?
Well, you know what we saw today, where if there's a breakdown and he gets a chance, he can score. So that was a huge goal that he scored for us today. I think in the first 2 games here, you can tell he's sort of feeling his way through it a little bit and finding his way to playing a different style of play. It's a competitive team. There's not a lot of space on the ice. You got to really work to create your space. So we think he's got a lot more to offer and can be a lot better. But I think it's a good chance for him this weekend to get 2 games in, and a little more comfort in playing at this caliber of play, this type of play, and with being so competitive in the playoffs, and a little bit of a sample of what we might be in for, what we will be in for, I should say, down in Utica.
Sheldon, not a lot to choose between these 2 games, and a lot of it, but your guys, every defining moment, they've stepped up. What does that say about the way the series has gone?
Well, I think that's just an indication of how it's been for us all season. Frankly, we're not a type of team in particular, since we've lost, the key people through this season that have gone up to the NHL or losing some guys through trade or what have you. We're not a type of team that overwhelms teams or dominates teams or anything like that, but we just stay with it. Don't give up a lot defensively, and when we do, our goaltending is great. But we stay with it and hang around long enough and score at big times and just pull away on teams. So that's sort of our recipe, and we've got to stay with that. I think that was precisely what happened today. Our goaltending was outstanding when it needed to be, and we were able to hang around long enough to find our game and pull away.
A lot of the young players are more skill oriented. How do you feel they've responded to what's been a very physical series so far?
Well, we just talked about Timoshev, and he was one guy I was really curious to see how he would handle this. Last year was his first year, first sample of playoff hockey, and I don't think he was at his best. And he's had a bit of an up and down season here this year, but he's been excellent. Like I said yesterday in particular, I thought he really drove our team. I looked down the line. Brooksy, we didn't like the penalty that he took today. Marchman took some penalties yesterday. So those guys are kind of finding their way a little bit, but we're getting good shifts and good things from them. So that's good. But, this time of year, the older, more experienced guys are going to drive you, and the younger guys are going to find their way as they get more comfortable. Sort of what I talked about yesterday. Young guys have played high-level hockey before. It's just that now you're in different roles, and you're expected to do different things, and you find your way through that. And that's where we're going to continue to see growth in those players. But the fact that we're getting good shifts from them, and we've we've put together 2 pretty good games. Today certainly was not our best, but we obviously like where we're at, coming away from home ice and going out on the road.